kind of funny that you bring that up because I wanted to talk about is it awkward for your wife Alvina when I'm here and you're not? Like when you're at work?
No, I fear it's awkward for both of you. She never tells me it's awkward. She definitely didn't like Nico being there the first night.
Nothing against Nico.
I think it's pretty much against Nico. It's more like it was nothing against you.
You're the one that worries about how much I say wrong against Nico, like saying the intro to our last episode.
You were the one who was worried about that.
Only because you made me feel like I should be.
No.
Yeah. I want your Yakima friends to like me and be return guests to the show. Okay?
Please, don't worry about that.
I'll tell you what, next time I won't kick all their asses at poker. I just feel like when you're at work sometimes and I'm hanging out with your wife and it's just me and her and the baby and Maury Povich or whatever happens to be on the TV, I feel, I don't want to say that she's judging me, but like really I'm unemployed now. I'm just loafing around. My feet are probably stinking. Like I just get really concerned sometimes that she's bitching to you about it. You're just too cool of a brother, which I know that you're not.
No, to be honest, I'm as in the dark as you. I've wondered sometimes if she's annoyed, but she doesn't mention it to me.
And she would, though,
I don't
right?
push it.
Like I've seen her bitch about other people to you in front of me.
Yeah, I think she would. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
She doesn't mind you being around.
All right, because it's been like 5 days now. I'm really feeling insecure about my whole.
No, that doesn't matter. She didn't want you to leave today because she didn't want to be in this house alone. You're her protector.
Yeah. How's that going to work out when a burglar comes over the fence?
I feel most guilty for you, like leaving you here with my family.
No, it's not bad for me. Your niece is adorable. I love her to death. We already established her favorite uncle.
Yeah. She. What did you think about when she threw up at Applebee's? I have a new name for it. Crapplebee's.
Yeah, I posted a tweet using that joke already.
Okay.
I should give you partial credit for that. Are we really going to talk about Sophie throwing up? Because I wasn't sure that was cool because I made a joke about that when we went outside to smoke after it had happened. And I was like, so we won't mention this on the show. And then you were like, ha ha ha. But I was hoping you would say, let's talk about it on the show.
Man, I think I need to be more careful in our everyday conversation.
You didn't mean you didn't want to talk about it.
No, not
Well, this
at
is
all.
exciting for me and the listener.
Yeah, I guess. Why wouldn't I want to talk about it? It's not personal.
I know,
It's
but
more boring than anything.
It's not boring. Like it was. I could see it being kind of humiliating. Like, should we not say it for Elvina's sake? Not that it was humiliating by any means. Like these things happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I've thrown up in much more embarrassing places.
From the time Sophie turned 1, it was her birthday dinner at the Outback or something like that because that's what Sophie wanted. We decided, and you were there that time, like we're not taking her out anymore, but we still do constantly, and it goes bad every time.
That's what you say. Every time we end up at a Red Robin and Sophie is squawking in her booster seat.
Last time we were at Red Robin was awful.
It wasn't awful. That's not what I was trying to say. I'm just saying that you are really, really insecure about taking your daughter to restaurants, which is understandable. Like she's uncontrollable.
Yeah,
to be sure.
And I try not to freak out or anything like that. More often, I would be worried about, is this going to turn into a fight between me and my wife? Like I try to bite my tongue, like. Why are you just giving her I try not to be like, why do we even bring her here? I'm not going to do that. That's something Dad would say. Like, I told you I don't want to fucking come to restaurants anymore. It's not that because we're there. I drove there and we're there. We agreed on it together.
Right.
But it can turn into, why are you like saying like, here's a crayon. What do you want? What do you want to do? When you should be like saying, this is unacceptable. And whether or not she's listening, like I think you need to say those things to her. Like if she's going to sit there being bad and screaming, and it's not vanity or anything, but I don't want the table next to me seeing me saying like, what do you want? What can I do? How can I make you happy so you'll be good? Blah, blah, blah. And at least they'll see me saying, this is not the way you act.
Right.
Be reasonable. I do say that to Sophie all the time. I'm like, Sophie, you have to be reasonable. Because one day she will know what that means, and I will be the one that always told her that.
Well, I'll tell you what. Being in restaurants isn't that bad with Sophie, except for Applebee's yesterday. Yeah, I think you're trying to stray away from the story. I gotta rein it back in.
Not at all. Not at all.
So I'm gonna tell it from my perspective because is she sick right now? I know she's been sneezing. You mentioned something about a summer cold, maybe.
Oh no, she has a cold and it's the summer, and I said how awful that is.
So apparently, what causes this gag reflex for Sophie is that she stuffs her mouth too full of food.
Yeah, I think it has nothing to do with her cold.
Okay.
She just eats like an asshole. Like, she shoves it in.
Much like us, but we've learned how to keep it down for the most part.
At the barbecue, she had a hot dog and she shoved a whole piece in her mouth, and Alvina called it that she was going to spit it out because that's her game.
Yeah. I've seen that a few times, but since Applebee's yesterday, I've been afraid every time I've seen it. Like I'm just worried about her because it was really kind of devastating, and I don't think you saw it at first, right?
No, it's not a scary thing at all.
It was scary to me. Like, how many times have you seen this? If it's not scary,
she throws up constantly. She shovels food into her mouth.
It looked when she vomited.
It's just all coming out.
It looked like she. I know. But I felt so bad for her. Like she didn't even have the sense about her to cry after it had happened.
Oh no, because this wasn't that big a deal. Like it's like all partially.
It took on a weird food. Like David Lynch feel to me. Like once she threw up and wasn't crying, I was like, "Cry, please. Are you okay?"
Throwing up macaroni and cheese is not that bad.
So she throws up. We all watched it happen. Like because even up until this point, like in the 3 days I'd been here. I've seen her, like, with the hot dog, like, just spit it back up out of her mouth. Yeah. Like, she's done with it. And so I thought it was the same thing with the macaroni and cheese at Applebee's because she hadn't even had that much to eat. Although we did go to the farmer's market, and she did eat a lot of caramel corn. Yeah. So maybe that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Obviously, that had something to do with it. And the last time she threw up was last week at the farmer's market. From like 3 pieces of kettle corn that she refused to chew and just swallowed, and then threw up right in the middle of the street. And I was begging Alvina, let's just walk away. And then finally some old guy runs up and says, thank you for not walking away.
Oh, yeah.
She does it all the time. But at Applebee's, it's macaroni and cheese, which is much more disgusting. And she was already being bad, standing up, turning around to the people behind us. Hi.
You know what? If she was just a year older, the crayons will be enough, right?
Yeah, I know. So why don't we wait that year? Why don't we stop going to restaurants? But she eats it, or she throws it up. Alvina.
No. Let's go back to the throwing up, though, because it meant more to me than it did to you. Okay. I care a lot about my niece.
Okay. The first time she threw up, like... I had her over the sink, and like I was like, "Is she done? Should we gag her?"
Right? That's what I was feeling this time, I guess. But me and you are sitting on one side, and we're facing Alvina and Sophie. And Sophie couldn't have been more than 2 or 3 bites at this macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Right? And then she does the thing where she's like spitting it back out of her mouth, which is fine. I can handle that when I'm eating my own chicken strip platter.
We were pretty far into the meal. I was like half my ribs in, and
well, that was you. She was taking her time.
But she got her food before us too, and she doesn't take her time when she eats.
That's true. She doesn't.
It only holds her interest for like 4 minutes.
If that, dude, she's really shoveling it down.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. She was more than a few bites in, but then I see her do the thing where it's coming back up, and I was like, all right.
Alvina puts her hands out to catch it,
which is gross, right? But I guess that's a mom thing.
Mom.
Speaking of which, recording in Aunt Lori's house, remember when Caleb, her son, was like Sophie's age probably, and she would pick his nose?
Oh, yeah.
She would just pick his nose, and you got to do that, right, though?
Yeah, I pick Sophie's nose.
You do?
Contemplate eating her boogers every now and then. Gross. No joke.
That could not be true. You say no joke, you mean joke, absolutely.
No. They're a little baby
gross.
Boogers.
And then you wipe your nose.
You never eat your boogers? Okay, it's nauseating me. I do. I do, but...
Whether I do or do not, this is a conversation for another time and place, buddy. Of course I do. So she doesn't puke yet. She just pukes the macaroni back up like she hadn't even swallowed it. And then she gets kind of daisy in the eye.
Yeah.
Is that an expression?
I don't recall that. I think you're dramatizing it.
You weren't looking. You were face full into your ribs, dude. Face first into your ribs, dude. I really think I was paying closer attention than you because I don't see her as often as you, so she's still kind of fascinating to me. Was that gross?
No. God. I'm paranoid. You analyze everything. I analyze a lot.
I'm really kind of freaking out right now. I swear to God, she looked almost sleepy before it happened. And that's what made me feel so bad. I don't know. It was something in that moment where I was like, oh, God, I feel so bad for her. Because then Alvina's hand is already out to catch the macaroni and cheese. And then she just, like, fully vomited, dude. And I would say it was creamy. Like, it was not like a chunky vomit by any means.
Right.
What had she eaten?
Macaroni and cheese.
No, I guess. I still don't think that was what she threw up.
You don't think...
Based on the looks and smell of it, no.
When you eat something and throw up, the last thing you ate is what you're throwing up.
Not always.
Yeah, it's not selective. It's not like if you ate one thing... Like, okay, let's say you ate some shrimp and that made you sick, and then you ate some chicken after that, which was cooked just fine. You're not only going to throw up the shrimp, you're going to throw up the chicken first. You throw up the last thing you ate. She was throwing up the macaroni and cheese.
Wow. You make a good case.
Thank you.
I feel like an idiot. Like halfway through that explanation, I know I should have just stopped you.
Plus, it was yellow. And it was yellow, and there was still pieces in there.
Okay. Can we say it smelled bad?
It smelled awful.
Okay, and it's cascading off of Alvina's open hand, like she's waiting for something else. And then, like, she'd stopped at that point, and then she leans over, right over her tray of macaroni and cheese on the table, and throws up again, almost twice as much, I would say. And so, like, it just splashes off the bowl, and everybody was so unprepared, I could tell. Like, whether you guys have seen that before or not, like, nobody could have wanted that when you're
at the restaurant.
Yeah. Never?
No, not at a restaurant like that. No.
I'm almost glad I was there for that then. Because I will never forget it. Like, I just felt so bad for her. Like, she obviously couldn't control herself. But then it started to stink. I would say it splashed on the floor. Chunks that we never bothered to pick up.
Yeah, that's not our jobs.
No, I know. But Alvina, here's what happened is you had, after she'd thrown up, you picked Sophie up and took her to the restroom to clean her up, right?
Yeah, and got the puke all over myself.
Yeah. And it was just me and your wife at the table at that point. And then she decided, because Sophie had thrown up on her, she needed to get up too and go to the restroom. And so she asked me, when the waiter comes by, can you tell him what happened? And I said, sure, you know. I don't want to tell the waiter.
That's a big job.
It is kind of, right? So the waiter hasn't come by yet. Your wife is up. You guys are all in the restroom. And so I decided, rather than tell the waiter, I'm just going to, like, every plate that's almost done, like, I piled them on top of each other to cover up the vomit smell that I know has
But one of them is full of vomit.
I know. But so I just keep piling plates on it, like I'm just going to diffuse the smell. Still thinking in the back of my head, of course, I'll still tell the waiter when he comes by. We'll tip him 30%, you know, whatever it takes. But then,
by the way, I saw the tip at the end of the night. That's how the story can end. I saw what you tipped. We'll talk about it.
Oh, shit. You are making me really nervous.
It works out okay for you.
Okay. All right. So then you come back from the restroom, and I think you'd pass Sophie off at this point. Alvina went back to the bathroom with her.
Yeah.
And it was just me and you knew at that point that macaroni and cheese platter was full of throw up, right?
Yeah.
And that I had, like, made this
yeah. I put it all together right now when you said it, but I remember the pile. I didn't know who made it.
Okay, but you knew that there was vomit at the end of it.
Yeah.
And then, so the waiter comes along, or some guy, I think he may have been like a manager or an owner, which made me feel worse about it. Because he comes over just, look, we hadn't seen him before. He's seasoned enough looking that...
He looked like a proprietor to me.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy whose name was above the door. I think it was Bill something.
And he comes around and he's like, "Can I clean this up for you?" And there's the vomit pile. But it was a whole tray worth of stuff, and so we're like, yeah, take it. And he goes back there, and I just think about the dishwashers, because I've been a dishwasher in a place like Applebee's.
Yeah.
And I just think about, like, getting this macaroni and cheese dish that you assume is just macaroni and cheese, and then you got to smell baby vomit. That's horrible.
I'm sure it stinks hard enough back there. I mean, it's gross. Did he stop at any tables on the way back to the kitchen? That smell definitely went back with him.
In fact, you were there. He stopped at the table right behind us, holding that tray, and saying, "Can I get you guys another drink?" It was awful, dude. I'm sure they smelled it.
I was eating my ribs the whole time.
I know.
I knew that we could be leaving very
That was the
quickly.
weirdest thing, is I felt bad, like, going back to my chicken strips after having watched that. I was like, maybe we should be more concerned about Sophie. I didn't know how severe that problem was. Obviously, if it had been bad.
Yeah, it just happens. She wasn't sick. She wasn't displaying any symptoms after that, and she's fine.
Yeah.
She's been fine.
So then, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I had vomit on my shirt and I was eating ribs. But I don't know. Do I have more of a responsibility at that point? We took 2 cars. Alvina's like, I'm going to take her to the apartment.
Okay, so when Alvina's still up in the restroom with Sophie, cleaning up the vomit, I'd done the best I could with, like, napkins and stuff to get it off the bench. And it didn't hit any of our food, we should say, except for her own.
Yeah.
But Alvina wasn't down with having the hamburger after that. But even before she'd come back from the restroom, I remember you saying, so we need to look for a laptop charger anyway. Best Buy's right here. Maybe Alvina, she's probably going to want to take Sophie back, take a shower. Maybe she can just come pick us up again. And I was like, yeah, that's cool, that's cool. Then she comes back out with Sophie, and it seems like she's angling at that, but nobody said it. And then so I say it, and then I feel like you scowled at me like I shouldn't have said that.
What are you talking about?
Am I all over the place?
When I told you that, me and Alvina had already discussed it. I may have presented it as an original idea.
No, it was past the original idea, though. Like, it seemed like you were almost unwilling to say it after you discussed the plan with me. No?
What do you mean? No, I'm saying that when I discussed it with you, I had already discussed it with Alvina.
Okay.
I knew that that's what she was going to do.
Misinterpretation.
What?
Let's move along.
Oh, God. What do I have to do? Freeze my face?
This is what happens after I've been hanging out with you and your family for like 5 days.
I realize
I'm just
awkward.
an asshole.
No,
Everything
no.
I do or say is being misinterpreted.
I'm sorry that me and my wife sometimes are are a little mad at each other or something like that, and you have to be in the middle of it. It's awkward.
I've barely been in the middle of any of that. So we're working off of 1 car at this point, right? Still at Applebee's, vomit on everybody except for me.
Yeah, one car. You're right.
Yeah, and then so Alvina.
What car? The pickup truck, right?
Yeah, one of the
you,
other
Lori.
borrowed vehicles.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Lori, too. I don't know if she knew that I was going to be here as long as I was. Sorry, Lacey's bedroom smells like feet. So Alvina falls for our scheme and decides she's going to take Sophie home.
We had already decided it, Alvina and I.
And so she decided she was going to go back home. You and I, like, everything's within this huge parking lot where we're at anyway. Like, we needed to look for a laptop charger, which we never found. And why you wouldn't sell anything associated with Mac at a Best Buy and still be in business, Best Buy.
I don't know. I think that they would like to. It's probably Mac that's holding out on that.
Anyway, that was a failure. I don't remember. So we just had excuses to wander around. But it was also like, how hot would you say it was? Because I love to talk about the weather. It was fucking uncomfortable.
It was getting like from low to mid 80s, definitely.
Is that it?
Was it hotter than that?
I feel like an asshole for sweating so much.
Mid 80s. That's pretty fucking hot, man. And we are in the desert. Let's not forget.
No, I know. It's definitely noticeably hotter than where I'm living.
Yeah.
So as we're baking in the pre-summer heat and like we're smoking cigarettes, which is weird because it's so hot. Like it just is almost a chore at that point. But what are we going to do? Talk to each other? At least I have a prop, a distraction. And you seemed less concerned about the throw up on your shirt because you were really into your ribs before.
Yeah, I kind of underestimated how much vomit got on my shirt. I can really be disgusting like that.
I can too. That's why I'm laughing. Really.
It took a while after Back Into My Ribs. Alvina had left with Sophie, and to me that was like problem resolved. Like so I ate the ribs, and then towards the end of them, I started to smell it. And then it took the waitress forever to like cash us out. And by the time I was like,
because I think they knew about the macaroni vomit back in the dishwasher,
and it was on my shirt. But I'm still cool. And we walk over to Best Buy, and it wasn't so hot then.
No, I think we found more shaded spots though to walk through, more than anything.
Yeah. And I wasn't concerned at all about my shirt.
Until when?
When
did it strike you that all of a sudden
we talked to a salesman at Best Buy?
Oh, that's right.
And I didn't even think about it then. And then we go to right next door to Office Depot. Same thing. Talked to a salesman. Didn't think about it. We were walking towards Borders, and then we really got out in the sun. And then I really started to smell it. And when Alvina left, she left the debit card, so I had to turn to you to cover for lunch.
Oh, yeah.
I gave you what cash I had, which wasn't really my share. And so we're walking across the parking lot, and I say, hey, can we stop at Value Village? I'll find a 99-cent T-shirt, and we'll just switch this out real fast.
And I was all for it, only because I love 99-cent Value Village T-shirts so much.
And I found one immediately for $1.50.
It wasn't a T-shirt.
Right, it was a button-up shirt for
short
a fat
sleeve
guy.
button-up.
Yeah, and it's like really been stretched out by a fat guy.
Yeah.
So when I wear it, like I'm just schlubby enough and misproportioned enough to look like I lost a bunch of weight and I'm still wearing my fat shirt. Like I used to be 300, now I'm like 210.
Yeah, I like the pattern more than I like the fit, but it's still a good shirt.
Brotherhood! I don't even own a TV.
Just so I know where we stand, then your wife is totally cool with me.
Yeah, that's correct.
As far
as I know.
As far as you know.
And we tell each other everything.
I know. Okay.
I don't ask.
Maybe
there's no reason to ask.
Maybe ask once.
No, there's no reason to ask. I even realize when I'm talking to you that like I make it sound like, well, there might be, and I just don't want to know. But no, I don't ask. There's not.
You should ask.
No.
I feel like me being your brother that's been here for like basically
me,
she has to look at me at least twice a month now, which is more than she ever had to deal with before.
This is the way I look at it. I'm with Alvina all the time, and sometimes I interpret her moods, and sometimes, like if I ask for clarification, I have at least supposedly severely misinterpreted her moods anymore. So I don't even try anymore, right?
Right.
So even in these situations when you say, oh, wasn't this uncomfortable? When I think back to them, I think I didn't even question it. Like, if I really thought about it, then maybe. But, like, the only way I would know for sure is to ask her. If she wants you to know she's annoyed with you, she will 100% know that. There was more than one person at the poker game who I felt in my head it's very obvious she's making it known that right now she's being bitchy towards you. You know what I mean?
Okay, and that was never me?
No, not in the poker game.
This is...
Or ever else.
I've been wanting to ask you about this, actually, because
You're too afraid of Alvina. And if it's just because
Tell me if this is not a good example, though.
If you think it's that you need to be afraid of her because you think I'm afraid of her...
No, that's never been the case,
for different reasons.
You're afraid of her, though?
Oh, Shy, I don't push certain, but I'm afraid of getting. I know it's going to turn into a big thing, like a big to do.
Can we talk about your detractions on the phone earlier?
Oh yeah, I guess. But don't forget you have an example.
No, I know. I'll get back to that. But first,
this is something that another married couple that we're friends with. They argue about constantly. Is like, where are we going to eat? Like, where do you want to eat? What do we want to get to eat? What do you want to have at home? Whatever. Just can't decide. And no one really wants what the other person wants. No one even fucking knows what they want. And it turns into way too big of an argument. I feel like I've been talking really fast. I'm going to slow down now. It turns into way too big of an argument. Like, it gets kind of personal sometimes. Like, why don't you just be honest with me? And I thought, God, we're the most fucked up couple on earth.
So did you already mention specifically what you're talking about?
Yeah, like arguing where to eat.
Where to eat,
Yeah.
yes. Which is the conversation I overheard on your cell phone today.
Yeah, but I'm sure you've overheard that before. You've been involved in it. Like, if Alvina says, "Oh,
I'm like Mr. Belvedere," just think of me as Mr. Belvedere with pajama pants instead.
But like I say, our friends, it turns out they have the conversation. One time, Alvina saw in a grocery store the people having the same conversation, like, name 3 places you'll eat. And it just turns into a big hassle. Anyway, on the phone today, she asked me, we had decided, hey, we'll just have her bring home a Papa Murphy's pizza. I'm thinking in my head, she fucking loves Papa Murphy's. She'll love it. So I run that by her on a voicemail, and she calls me back, or I call her back, and she's like, yeah, that's totally fine. And she goes, I'll stop and get that Papa Murphy's, and then whatever I'm going to eat, and then I'll be there around 8:30 or 9.
Which is coming right up, so keep your voice down. She could be here by now.
And so I'm like, wait a minute. To say, wait a minute, you're not going to eat the Papa Murphy's? Well, what do you want to eat? And turn into this big thing, and then I stepped away from that.
Yeah, and I heard your end of it. You're just like, hey, you started something, and then you just backed
bailed
off. You're like, oh, never mind.
Never mind. And I think she knows where I was going to go down.
Yeah. It's better that you didn't, probably.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect example of your wife and why I think she hates me. Shit, I can't remember the exact details of the story, but it was the night when everybody was over for poker, and we were barbecuing outside, and I was sitting out there on the...
Was this before everybody got there?
No, this is after people had started. I think Sean and Daniela were here at this point. So, like, pretty much everybody was there, and we were eating outside. And I was going inside to do something, and Alvina had made fun of something I just said. I can't remember exactly what she made fun of me for, but it was just one of her digs where, like, we do the same thing to each other all the time, so it's fine. But because I'd had a little bit of beer in me, I thought it would be funny to say whatever she said. My response was, shut the fuck up. Do you remember that? Because you were out there too.
No, I don't remember.
Okay, so and I remember we just scored salmon from Gabe, who was also there, and so like we'd smoked our first bowl of salmon for a while, and I was super high, and I'd also been drinking, and so I said that as I was going inside. Whatever she said, I was like, shut the fuck up. And I go inside, and then everybody was out there. Like, Sean was out there. His girlfriend was... Wife. Your wife was out there. Everybody was out there, and I just felt like the biggest asshole in the world.
Oh, you didn't even see a reaction from her?
No, but I worried too much about it. Like, right when I fell inside, I was like, that was a little harsh. Because I was expecting a big laugh right when I said it. Like, hey, he just told that woman to shut the fuck up.
Dude, I gotta say, it's weird. Like, I had also smoked salmon, and, like, I felt like that exact same kind of uncomfortable there. Even though these are people who I've known for years.
See, that's the difference, though. Like, you should be fine.
Yeah,
I was obviously uncomfortable. But more because I thought I pissed Alvina off than anything else.
No.
And then, I was super paranoid. Like, I was making my burger. That's why I'd gone inside. I was putting mustard and onions on. And the whole time I'm thinking, that was too far. Everybody's going to be mad at me the whole night. Nobody's even going to want to play poker. Is there something wrong with me?
I gotta say, this is the first time I've ever heard that you act exactly like me.
That is not true.
I do. I go through the same thing.
I'm sure you do, but I'm saying it's not true that's the first time you've had that thought.
No. Like, I guess I always thought that you weren't afflicted so much. You always make fun of me for having, like, fucking daddy issues and stuff like that, just because I have dreams about beating up dad. I'm like, well,
your daddy issues are pretty laughable.
Maybe Nick's a little more put together than I am, but maybe not. We're insane, man.
I'm more put together than you.
We need professional help. I'm serious. Like,
let's get Gabe Byrne in here.
Who doesn't go to therapy? Like, we need to get some money together and go to therapy. Didn't your last job?
Aren't you afraid of it?
Didn't your last job pay for therapy?
Don't remind me.
Didn't
I
someone
could have taken advantage of that, dude.
Didn't someone
But
urge you to take therapy at one point?
Somebody did. I probably blocked it out.
No, wait.
If I had a therapist, I'd know who by now.
I'll say her name if it'll jog your memory.
Okay, we might have to beep it, but
Didn't your hiring manager Jessica, like urge you to take therapy or something like that from work? There's no way I'm making this up.
I'm sure you're not. It seems like something kooky she'd say.
I think-
Being in therapy herself, it's really working for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what it was. But you think therapy? I feel like
Oh, I would love therapy. It would have to be like
you can't say that's true
man,
because part of your struggle, as is mine, I should think, is social awkwardness, right? So isn't a therapist like the worst idea in the world? Just sitting across one guy.
This is the thing. I want to be really rich so I can get a really great therapist.
One that makes you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
One that has a beard, much like Robin Williams.
I think it's going to need to be an effeminate man. Much like my chiropractors, I prefer my barbers that way.
Let's go back to you're preferring effeminate chiropractors.
Oh, well, it's like when I was getting chiropractic, I loved because I had like the most fragile little cute man ever who kept talking about his fiance, but acted totally gay the whole time. And he was great, and I loved it. I hated my massage because
you say.
I hated my massage because it was from a woman, and that was awkward. Pretty much, if I'm with a girl, no matter how booty, I think everything I do, she thinks that I'm trying to come on to her, or that I'm just some weird loser, awkward guy. And then if I'm around like a guy, like just a regular guy, I'm like, I'm not macho enough for this guy. He probably thinks I'm a fag. The whole time. So I prefer like an effeminate male. And that's who I would love to tell all my life stories to. And I might cry. I would probably cry talking about some shit. If I was rich enough and had a good therapist, I would fucking love it.
Really?
Love it.
That seems so weird to me.
They'll explain these dreams I have.
You really would buy into that? The dream thing I don't buy.
I want someone to tell me something.
Oh, hold on. Let me check my dream book.
Serious daddy issues.
Yeah, but only because you know that to be true.
No, absolutely not.
No?
Dead end.
Disagree.
I will say that every now and then, and I can't believe you never have dreams like this, because you have to have weird dreams about our parents.
Not as often. I think I probably do and don't remember them, but you know them by heart, dude.
Well, I'll remember dreams like that. I'll have a lot. Like, one is where like I'll get into a screaming match with Dad, just telling him what a piece of shit he is and how much I fucking hate him, and just calling him out on like a ton of different shit.
Which you've never done in real life, right?
No, never. But I always either wake up or in my dream seriously regret having done it. Or I'll wake up and I'm like, oh my God, did that just really happen? And it takes a minute to realize that it didn't. But I'll have the dream a lot. I've had dreams more recently, this is no shit, where it's like come to blows, like at least twice, where like I started hitting Dad, and one time like he was fighting back. One time he was just taking it. I don't know, dude. I don't know what these dreams mean.
I don't know either. You definitely need a therapist, though, because I don't have those dreams.
But still,
I really don't.
Like one of the last times.
That is so crazy.
The last time I went to Seattle by myself, I made a point to like drive to his work and surprise him. But that's when he was saying like a bunch of shit that was making me mad. So
that's what
I need to just stay away from him.
You really boggle my mind sometimes because you say that, and we've had these conversations before, obviously. You say, I need to stay away from him. I don't know why I do this, yet you continue to fucking do it. You make a point to tell Dad you're in town so he can...
How often have I done that? I did that the last time I went to Seattle.
That's what I'm talking about.
I stopped in to see him. But
why do that?
Oh, okay, I did that. But when he would have Saturdays
this
with
is the
Melissa,
guy that you forbade from your wedding.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
But let it be said that you wrote Dad a very angry letter once.
Over $180, not my wedding.
Yet you would still make the effort to bus down from Seattle to Tacoma like 4 different scary buses to spend 4 hours on a Saturday with him.
That's true.
While he went to great efforts to spend no money on a Saturday with our sister.
Oh, I paid for those weekends, yeah.
Yeah.
In addition to bus fare, like he's a real dickhead, dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know I lost my job yet. I know he's sending emails to a dead address right now.
Yeah. Is that where he emails you at? Is on your work account?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No idea, dude. Maybe I won't tell him. Maybe
Eventually,
I'll continue to let him wonder.
But you know, and that was a mistake seeing Dad, definitely. But I don't know what the dreams are. Like I tell you, and you say daddy issues, but like a professional or you know, I hate dreams. I asked Alvina, let me ask you this. This is how gay marriage is.
Gay marriage is?
This is how gay marriage is. I thought of this question at work and remembered.
I'm confused by what emphasis you're putting on what. This is how gay marriage is.
Yeah. This is how gay my marriage is.
Okay. That's all I needed, that little bumper.
How much of a woman am I? I thought of this question at work, and I came home to ask Alvina, would you rather be plagued with bad dreams or insomnia? Cut. Stop. Don't answer. I don't care.
Stop. Don't
I don't
stop.
care.
That was an amazing question. Please go back.
I'd say insomnia because I'd write a book about it. Dreams, I'd probably have to kill myself.
No,
No,
really?
uninteresting question. I don't want to hear the answer.
Quit bailing on your own material, dude. Ask me again. I really wanted
Did
to
you
answer
text
that.
Mom Happy Mother's Day?
Okay, shut the fuck up. Go back to this for a second.
Okay. So which would you rather have? Be plagued by bad dreams? I've had bad dreams. I've had dreams.
I don't have bad dreams.
I've had dreams where in my dreams I'm sobbing, crying, but when I wake up, no tears on my face. But it's so real in my dream.
And you just wake up feeling humiliated or what?
Sad. Just sad.
Wow.
I'm so glad it's over.
So how often do you have
And
dreams
then I
that
always
you remember?
think, would that work as a movie? I could write that script. I could start shooting next month. I don't. Well, dreams like that, they vary. One was like I was a cop. Like our whole family was cops,
Including me?
including Grandma, who was like the
How'd
boss.
she look in a uniform?
Like the boss cop. It's all hazy, and this is not a made up story. She was like the boss cop, and somehow like I got too excited with my gun, and I shot a baby, and it died, and like.
Not funny.
The dream when I woke up felt like it was like 4 hours long, and like I was just bawling my eyes out the whole time in the dream. But I woke up dry-eyed.
Well, you know what people love more than anything? Is us talking about our dreams.
Yeah. Oh my God. You forced me to go back to it. Which would you rather have, bad dreams or insomnia?
Bad dreams, only because I've never really experienced it. I mean, I have anxiety dreams more than anything.
If
Like,
you had
oh,
bad
God.
dreams, like dreams that like you're murdering everybody who you know, or dreams where like you're about to commit suicide and you're like doing it in some like you're slashing your wrist, something that like
Okay.
you would never do, and you wake up right before every time.
I know, but what does it say about me that I can't recall ever having a dream like that?
No, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you're plagued with bad dreams. Those are bad dreams. I'm not saying that it's going to come.
I understand the hypothetical. I'm still thinking about it as me, though. Like, I don't have anything to relate that to.
So you're just saying that you don't know how bad that would be.
I'm saying that.
Or are
the
you saying
closest
that
I know
don't
to-
think that would even happen to me? If I was cursed with bad dreams, I wouldn't even have them.
I'd
'cause I
brush it
don't
right
have them.
off. Yeah.
No, you're going to have them. That's the whole thing.
No, here's the whole thing. Like, okay, tell me if this is as bad. Might not be. Oh, I know insomnia though, because as a kid, mom and dad would be stupid enough to let me sit in front of Stephen King's miniseries It, and then I was afraid of Pennywise forever, and so like I seriously couldn't sleep.
That's normal stuff, though. Every kid gets scared by something.
I
like
know, but that relates to insomnia. That's
I
the
would let
closest to
Sophie watch
insomnia
that.
I've ever had, though.
Nah, that's not the same thing at all. Just you've never been able to like not sleep for like what 2 days.
Okay, I had a bad breakup or two. And in those times, I'm super fucking depressed and awful. And when I was real dumb about it, my first breakup, it was all sleeping pills and Miller High Life and Full House at 5 in the morning.
Well, then you know you were falling asleep. Insomnia would also be like the Stephen King book Insomnia, where you see like you go crazy. You see little people running around in lab coats.
Yeah, never that. Although I think I had a ghost experience once as a kid.
Are you serious?
am.
So which do you choose?
I'll go bad dreams still.
Bad dreams.
Bad dreams.
I think it's a bad choice.
Hey, I thought of a fun contest for our listeners, and this ties into a ghost story that I have of my own.
Okay.
Have you never really felt like a ghost has embodied you for any moment in your life?
Embodied me?
That was a bad word.
Or do you mean like have I seen a ghost or a ghost did that?
That's
or
all
a
I meant.
Ghost, oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you asked something else. Whoopi Goldberg joke. No, I feel like everything that I've seen, where I'm like, oh, maybe that was a ghost. Like, obviously has a reasonable explanation for it.
I know, and you're
If I
cursed with a logical brain.
If I really wanted to investigate it, that might be fun at one time to like actually try to figure out how could this have happened. Barry told us a scary demon story once. Do you remember that?
No. I remember him on a camping trip that he was somehow a part of when he was probably still a teenager, and we were little kids. And it was dark already, and the headlights were on. We were driving into the camping spot, and there were a lot of trees, and Barry kept saying that Freddy Krueger was behind one of those trees. That was fucking terrifying.
Well, that's just him trying to scare us. That's not a demon experience.
No, I know. That's just what it reminded me of.
Barry's demon experience, other than the Bob Meacham story, was was that like one time he had roommates, and I think he went to so far as to say like one of them wasn't a very good witness, and this might have invited demons in.
Of course.
And okay, so he hears a big crash. And so someone's breaking into his apartment, and he just waits, and he waits, and he waits. And maybe he does pray. I don't know. I assume he prays. But then about 5 minutes later, he hears this scratching on the walls, just scratching. And that's when, and the way Barry tells the story, and I have another perfect example of this, the way Barry tells the story is, that's when I knew there were demons in my room. And they were scratching at the walls, and they were breaking things, and blah, blah, blah. And that's when he prayed and prayed and prayed until finally he was able to fall asleep. How are you able to fall asleep, Barry? I prayed. I just got exhausted. And then he wakes up in the morning, and it's some Who Framed Roger Rabbit poster that the glass broke off. The bottom part of the frame holder broke off.
Right.
The glass fell down and crashed, and then it took a while, but then it started scratching against the wall. And that's the way he told us the story as a kid, was that a demon was in his house and that he prayed to God to get away from it.
But if you know the second part of the story, where it was obviously the poster making that noise,
yeah,
then Barry told that part of the story and said, "Oh, I fucked up about the demons," right?
Yeah, no, but he never like goes back and says, well, no. At the end of the story, he absolutely says like, and it turns out it was just there was a logical explanation for the whole thing, but it's like a big scary story beforehand. The other example of it is, do you remember when we came home once in Tacoma, checked the answering machine, the Alders family,
Oh, God. Not a story.
And Barry leaves a message. Hey guys, just want to let you know I was shot today while delivering a pizza. I'm okay though. Bye. Hangs up the phone. How many people had he had to have called?
Yeah.
With that exact same message.
This is pre-Facebook where he couldn't just leave an update.
Yeah.
So instead it was making phone calls saying, I've been shot.
By the way, we're trying to get him for episode 50, which I was like, yeah, and that's what he did. So we call him back, and are you okay? I mean, I don't even know. Who called him back? Do you remember?
I'm sure it was either mom or dad, because I think they were still together at the time. And we get this message, but the fucked up thing about Barry is, like, obviously this is a cry for help. Like, I need attention.
This is before we
were too young to know.
Yeah,
but
and two, we idolize him too much.
Yeah, mainly me, or were you a part of that clan?
You guys would make me mad together, but definitely, I wished I was Barry, if only to get your love.
But he spins this whole huge story about So I was waiting. I just got up to a door with the pizza because he's a pizza delivery man at
I think
28.
you're already telling the story wrong. He went way more into it. Was I the one who talked to him, or was he on speakerphone?
Okay, let's assume you did.
All right. Well, I don't want to interrupt. Obviously, if it was one of us, it was you because he liked you.
We
more.
both know the story, but I think you could better tell it than me.
It just seemed like he said something about like getting out while delivering a pizza, walking to the door, and a car drives by. He sees a kid come out of the car window with a gun, shoot him, and he feels it.
A gun, Barry?
Yeah, a gun. Please, let me finish my story. He feels it in his back. He puts his hand back there. He feels it. Oh, it's blood.
It's wetness. It's blood.
He doesn't say it's wetness. He says it's blood. Because that's what he said. Because later he'll explain, oh, I thought it was blood because it was wet. So I feel back there. It's blood. I walk up to the door I say, hey, here's your pizza.
This is the worst part.
Can I borrow your phone? I've just been shot.
I'm sure it was not that dramatic. I'm sure this didn't even happen.
The guy, he grabs it. He's, oh, okay, come on in. And he's got his arm around me, and he looks at it, and he says, oh, I think you're going to be okay, buddy. The blood's yellow. It's just a paintball.
Whew.
He makes everyone call him back for that. And later on, Grandma, like, the next time she talked to Dad, at least according to Dad, was like, oh, did you hear that story? Oh, I almost lost my son tonight. I almost lost a child tonight. Like, she just totally... it's some weird, sick relationship they have.